Welcome to Block 15, Star of Destiny, of the August installment of Cheshire Quilters Guild 2018 Block of the Month. This is the second block. The first one was Block 14, Star of Beauty, so look for that video separately. The first thing we need to do is to take our Fabric B rectangles and Fabric F triangles, and we're going to sew them together along one side, center the triangle along the long side of the rectangles, and then we're going to press this seam open. When we come back, I'm going to show you how we need to trim this up. Alright, now to do the trimming, orient your unit in this direction just to determine the side. You might want to move it for the actual trimming that we need to do, but I want you to know that it's this side that you're going to be trimming off. And what we want to do is trim so that let's see if I can find a good spot. We want a 45-degree line on the seam, and we want to trim right at the very corner of the triangle. So you might want to pick it up and reorient it to do the trimming, but that's what I want to trim off. I'm going to trim off this little dog ear from the press open seam at the same time, so that we get something that looks like this. That's the first step of the trim. The second step of the trim is that we're going to trim it to be 4 3/4 wide. So I'm going to put my ruler on, and I'm going to line up the 4 3/4 on the side we just trimmed and trim off the other side. And that's what our final unit is going to look like. It's a little peculiar. There's still more on here we're going to trim off later, but that's what we need to trim for starts. So I'm going to trim mine up, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what the next step is. Okay, now we trimmed them to 4 3/4, and now we can sew 2 of them on either side of the Fabric B square, and this will complete our center section. And then, just as we did for the Star of Beauty, we will take the other 2 pieces and sew, in this case, Fabric A triangles on either side to make the corner sections. So let me do that, and I'll meet you back here. Seams are going to be pressed toward the Fabric B square and toward the Fabric A triangles. Okay, now that I have all the pieces together, there's where my seams are going to match up. I'm going to sew these together, press these any way that you want, and we'll come back here and I'll show you how to trim it up. It's very similar to how we trimmed up the last block. Alright, here it is, Star of Destiny. We need to trim this also to 12.5 inches, just like we did the Star of Beauty. And again, we're going to trim it so that it's 1/4 inch outside each of the points. The trouble with this one, or the challenge with this one, is the one side of your rectangle is exactly where we need it to be, or pretty much, so that will help you as far as lining it up in that on the side. So the point 1/4 inch out from the point, and this rectangle 1/4 inch out from this point, and so forth around. And then we can just trim. Rotate the unit and trim again, and then we will have finished Block 15, Star of Destiny. So again, this is the second block for August. The other block was Star of Beauty, number 14. And that concludes Block 15, Star of Destiny, for Cheshire Quilters Guild 2018 Block of the Month. See you next month for Block 16 and 17, Grandma's Star and the 1904 Star.